And we're on top of some breaking news in New Britain tonight. A suspected cyber attack is under investigation at City Hall. A network disruption at City Hall prompted an internet shutdown. Amanda Callahan is your reporter live in downtown New Britain with what city officials are saying happened here. Amanda.
Well, Stephanie, the internet has been down inside City Hall here behind me since 5 o'clock yesterday morning. Network disruptions have been impacting their systems inside the building, but the city does want to stress that public safety operations have not been impacted. The city of New Britain is dealing with a suspected cyber attack. The internet went down at City Hall early Wednesday morning, prompting an immediate system shutdown. City officials immediately activated its incident response protocols and called in state and federal authorities to investigate. Mayor Bobby Sanchez writing in a statement, quote, "We have engaged additional technical resources to support this effort and to ensure our systems are secured and restored as quickly and safely as possible." While it's too early in the investigation to know the scope of the suspected attack, Sanchez went on to say, quote, "The city takes the security of its system and the protection of information very seriously." The Identity Theft Resource Center released its 2025 data breach report today, which found data breaches increased by 5% over the last year and 79% over the past 5 years. Just one of those incidents last year was a phishing attack that hit a New Haven high school. And University of New Haven cybersecurity professor Vahid Bazadan says it's not a coincidence that these cyber attacks seem to be rapidly increasing.
As we rely more and more on cyber ecosystems, from online banking all the way to paying taxes online or requesting permits online, these systems become more and more attractive to attackers.
Bazadan says city governments and schools are soft targets for hackers.
Municipal government systems store and have access to high value data. And the other factor is municipal governments typically have limited resources. City halls hold everything from tax records, social security numbers, and utility data, but unfortunately, municipal IT departments often have to defend this treasure trove on a fraction of the budget that a major bank or tech company has.
City officials say they will continue to provide services to the city. They're just using paper and pen now. The mayor is expected to provide an update tomorrow morning right here at City Hall at 10 o'clock in the morning. Be sure to stick with us on air and on WFSB Plus for those latest updates. Your reporter live in New Britain, Amanda Callahan, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.